Yeah.
And I believe we're now live, Tom. Live. I'm live from the Wirral.
Yes, Simon. Sorry, a bit of a delay. Yes, Simon, that's right. We are live.
I'm actually going to check we're live while I do this because at the moment, apparently, we've got nobody watching, which is not a good sign. Ooh, and I've got the hiccups out of nowhere. Anyway, if you are watching, and if you're watching this later, and you're here to see my mother, she'll be on in 15 minutes. In the interim, it's me and Tom having a nation and all those lovely things.
Indeed.
So, right, I'm trying to see if this is... Oh, yeah, people are here. People are here. We've got people watching, so therefore it must be real.
Hello and welcome.
I get really worried every time I do it. I'm like, is it going right? Am I doing it? What's going on?
I can see that it says live up in the corner.
It does.
Been live for 1 minute almost.
Oh, now. Okay. Telling us we are live. Chris Cairn says, hello, boys. Hello, Chris, and thank you for a little parcel that arrived for me today. Jenny loves books. We're live. We are live. Right? We're live, coming to you from our lounges. I've got my broomstick in the background, as you can see. Tom's got some naked art from my mother.
There it is.
So Jenny says hi. Books in Scotland says hi. Athleen Vixen says hi. Amanda says hi. Cheryl says hi. Paint Eyelash says hi. Enid says hi. And Melanie says hi. Now then. Oh, and she says that she's been looking forward to this all day. So just to let you all know, as I mentioned, my mother will be joining us. Fingers crossed the technology works. Tom's very excited about it. I see Mum quite often. But she'll be joining us in about 15 minutes, hopefully. We're going to have just a little catch up about Winter Book Hibernation. Then we'll talk about, I wanted to say Coleman and Black. Is that mustard?
Coleman's is mustard, yeah. Maybe it's cross between Coleman's and Green and Black's chocolate. Coleman and Black.
I was going somewhere. Anyway, then we'll talk about Bellman and Black. I've got to work out where the camera is now. It throws me a little bit, this. I don't know what can happen when there's 3 of our faces in one screen. Who knows? But yeah, so Tom, how has your winter book hibernation been?
It's been wonderful. I've had a lovely time. I think as with always, I always have this wonderful TBR that I'm going to smash through, and I'm going to devote 20 hours a day to reading, and it's all just going to be wonderful. But I haven't actually managed to do that this time. I've read 3 of the books that I wanted to. I started one and DNF'd it.
Yeah, tell us about that, Tom. What was it?
It was The Betrayals by Bridget Collins.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. But yeah, I read the poem prompt, and I've made good progress with the other Bennet sister. I haven't completely finished that, and I was doing that for the prompt with the icy blue cover, or part of the cover, and I obviously read Bellman and Black for the group read.
So technically, you did do all of the prompts. Oh no, I missed one. Did you do one with winter or snow in the title?
No, no, I did. It was the poem. I read The Winter by William Blake.
Sorry, of course you did. I did the same. So technically, I covered all the basic ones because I read this, which I can't work out where to put at all in this video. And then I read one with blue on the cover, even with the word blue on the cover. The brief part. Which I've kind of forgotten already.
Oh, really? Well, you were quite excited about that, weren't you?
I was, but this has happened twice now. I loved his book Moonstone. Really loved it. I think HRH has read it. And for those of you who don't see our Instagram lives, HRH is what Tom calls my mother. And I loved that. And then I wasn't a fan of, he did one called Codex 1962, which was massive, and I couldn't quite get into that one. And then this one, I liked it, but it's not one that I'm going to remember forever. This poetry collection is phenomenal. This has got a poem called Winter in it, and it's set, she was writing the collection before the pandemic hit, and then she actually carried on writing. So the first half is called After the Pandemic, and the second half is called Before, and it's just stunning. There's a lot about grief in there, and I'm still reading, I haven't finished, with feathers on the cover, the new Sarah Winman, which is so good. I don't want it to ever end.
This is the reading.
nice. I'm gonna have a book hangover after I finish this.
It looked. So Mark just finished Tin Man.
And what did you think of it? I should have asked him. He was there a bit ago.
Yeah, he really liked it. He really, really liked it.
Did he cry?
He didn't cry, no, but he
bastard.
What cold-hearted bastard. He didn't cry, but we were talking about, because he was confused about some of the plot, because I think from what I can remember, it jumps around a little bit. So we were talking about that, and it was wonderful. Have a bookish discussion.
Oh, that's really nice. Because me and Chris, I don't think we've ever read. Oh, there's only a couple of books we've both read, and that's Joanna Cannon, both of her books, and Call Me by Your Name, I think. Chris,
Okay.
I don't like the film. And I just want to check, Jenny, what are you beating yourself up for in the comments? Whatever it is, don't do it. And Amanda Reed is saying Tom's got moves. Julie Wellen almost DNF'd the betrayals after 50 pages, but persevered and it did improve, but not as good as the bindings. Don't ask HRH what she thought of the bindings, Tom. He'll be very upset. I've not brought this up yet.
First question.
Amanda Reed hosted Sarah Women and she was so lovely. She is lovely. I hosted an event. The first ever book event I hosted in my life was with Sarah Women.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was Sarah Women and S.J. Watson, and they were both a joy. And then I hosted Sarah on the Tinman tour. All I'd heard from Mum was like, oh, it's all right. And I was like, this isn't great, because she was coming to the event. And then my mum arrived and literally just burst into tears and was like, Sarah, it's so beautiful. What you've done is so... I was like, all right, here we go. There we are. Chris Cairns did Bellman and Black, A Wintry Poem, Assassin's Apprentice. I think that's so clever, Assassin's Apprentice and the ice in Apprentice. That's really, really clever.
Oh, yeah. And it's alliterative.
And it is alliterative, going for it all there. And it's halfway through A Little Life. Ooh, good luck. Miss Fix's Story in the Prophets. People are jealous of my early copy of the new Sarah Women novel. Which one? What, this one? This one here? This.
Amanda said she loves sobbing all over authors.
It's quite niche, that. Anyway, apparently our walls are going beautifully together. Let's see what happens when Louise arrives and ruins it. Anyway, we should talk before my mother arrives about Bellman and Black. Now, we will probably do a little bit of spoilers at some point, but what we'll do is we'll pre-warn you so that you can mute us pretty much until my mother arrives. I think that's probably the best way to do it. But for now, we'll just do the intro. So this was your choice, Tom. Tell us, why did you choose it and what did you think about it? Because you'd read it before.
I had read it before, and that's partly why I chose it, because I thought I felt like it's a good book to read during winter. I think I read it September 2019, I think, and it works well, I feel.
Right.
And yeah, when was it? But no, I think it's quite a wintry book. For me, it was quite atmospheric and quite macabre, I think is the right way to put it, maybe. So I thought it would be wonderful for winter. And although it doesn't specifically say that it's set in Victorian England, I think it's fairly obvious because of the references to the mills and the obsession with kind of mourning wear and all of that kind of stuff, that it's set in Victorian period. And I just think Victorian period winter goes quite well together.
And also they become obsessed with how crematoriums are on the horizon, which was when the end of the Magnificent Seven happened. I only know that because I was a tour guide at one of the Magnificent Seven, because I used to be a tour guide at Highgate Cemetery. And I really, really enjoyed this. Now, I have seen Alvin Vixen says, don't tell the lads I DNF'd it. You're allowed to DNF it. It's not a problem, because actually there were moments when I was thinking, like, I was enjoying it, but I wasn't quite sure why I was enjoying it. So we had a tiny chat about this before we recorded, but we didn't give any spoilers away. One, I'm sure I've read this before and had just forgotten that I'd read it before. There were certain moments where I was like, I know this bit. And also I was like, well, I know what's going to happen here. Now, that could just be because I do like a guess. I do like to be a bit of a detective. But there were just some bits that were very similar. Now, what made me laugh, which you'll probably see in my next vlog, is that I was at first a bit like, why are we talking about mills all the time? Like, why are we talking about dye? I'm not sure how I feel about any of this. And I can imagine that could be quite off-putting for people. But I couldn't stop reading it. Even when I'm bored of talking about crimson dye, I would still carry on reading it. And I do think towards the end it's a little bit long. That's all I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think there's a certain monotony, especially in the first half, with regards to like the functioning of the mill and all of that kind of stuff. And if you're really interested in Victorian work and labour and things like that, then it is really interesting. But I think there's perhaps a bit. I don't know whether it's done to show like to kind of convey William's skill in business or what really. But yeah, there's a big focus on the mill, certainly in the first half. What I find interesting is the kind of tagline to this originally was Bellman and Black, a ghost story. Do you think that it's a ghost story?
Well, maybe we should talk about that in a minute or so when we talk about the ending a little bit more.
Okay, sure.
Just because I'm just checking what people so people are saying, Louise, come soon, we need you. Why? How dare you, Enid?
Outrageous.
Outrageous, Enid. Where's that block button? I'm joking. The bit, and actually somebody's just pointed it out. Lester Rock said the mills reminded me a bit of North and South. Now that did there was a very fine, she manages to just stop above the balance where I was like, this is a lot of showing how much research you've done. I feel like I'm getting so much of it. Like, you've clearly researched mills and industrial stuff. You've clearly researched mourning in Victorian England, which was a huge, huge industry. And you've clearly researched the whole funeral thing, all that, and architecture. And sometimes it was too much. But yet the most of the story still pulled me through. I was left guessing. I felt like sometimes she dropped the ball a bit, like Dora. I think there could have been more made of Dora. I love the rook thing. For those of you who haven't seen my Instagram today, it was really weird. Like, I was just starting the last 100 pages, and honestly, the sky just went, well, not the whole of the sky went rook filled, but it was like a rook fight suddenly just started happening outside the house. It was really spooky. And this book did make me jump a few times. Like, while I was reading it, I was getting edgy in the house. That's what I'll say. Tom,
very, very odd.
What are people saying in the comments? Can you see the comments?
Yeah, I can see. So people are someone said, and I think this is quite a good point, the whole Amanda saying the whole rook thing didn't work for her. It seemed really cruel to link a childhood mistake to the entire ruin of his whole life.
Oh,
quite an interesting way of seeing it. And people saying the Victorian mourning stuff was really fascinating. Amanda's saying that as well. And I think that's true. I that is, for me, what I found the most fascinating about it. Especially when they're building up to opening up the business, and the whole obsession with Victorian, Victorian mourning wear and all of that kind of thing, I found really interesting.
Sorry, I'm just HRH is messaging me and saying, "Have you started yet?" And she's just
watching.
No, she's not watching until she's on. She doesn't care. I think the morning stuff I really, really loved. I think the only thing was, because I was a tour guide at Highgate Cemetery, there's a certain amount of stuff we had to know anyway. So I felt like I knew some of the stuff. But what I can say is that she is obviously very factually correct because she's reading her work. But one of the other things that I would say is that I just felt the book was so much about mourning, and yet when lots of family members die, there's not that much mourning.
Yeah. Do you think
the thing is such a big part of the plot, and then she sort of just drops it a bit, and that's because of the twist at the end, I guess, because we don't think the bargain is the one that is a.
But do you think that his way of the book, for me, I thought was actually full of mourning, but just in not in a traditional way. Him sort of throwing himself into his businesses, and because he's such a kind of logical thinker in terms of his like manufacturing background, he can't quite cope with the mourning part of it. So the way that he deals with his grief is by throwing himself into his businesses.
Yeah, possibly. No. I think
that's how I read it the second time, not the first.
I think it's interesting because the book is definitely, I mean, it is a book of two halves. Well, actually, there's three parts, but there is sort of a second half. And I do feel like one of the things that I did notice is sometimes I feel like authors try and cram a story, like try and find a fact about history and cram a story around it. And I did feel a bit like that's how she bookended it. So she decided, right, I really want to look at sorry for Oscar. I really, really want to look at the industrial stuff. But at the same time, I really kind of want to talk about the funeral. And I don't know, that's where I felt it was a bit, sometimes the problem with historical fiction is you can't let the story can't change the facts.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Oh, look at him.
It's because he wants to sit on my knee.
Oh, bless him.
Do you want to sit on my knee, Bernie? Oh, he's going to just sit here, apparently. So that's interesting.
I love that he's joined.
Oscar's joined, everyone. Say hi to Oscar. Not his bum. I'll keep that covered up at all times. Come on then, make yourself comfy. I just don't want him to rip my jumper. He's a bit of a nightmare with jumpers.
Oh,
yeah. Yes, people are agreeing with you that he's running away from his feelings and fear. And it is very much a book about what people don't say and how people do or don't deal with grief. I just felt like there was a missed opportunity to draw, like that bit where he mentions that she draws herself and gives herself a beak. I was like, oh, this is going to go amazing. And then it just sort of nothing really happened then.
Yeah. I see what you mean, definitely. Do you think that, because I had a very different reading of Mr. Bellman.
Oh, my mother is here.
She's arrived.
She's arrived.
Hello, boy.
Here.
Hello.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, Tom's very excited, Mum.
Oh, I'm very excited.
It's nice to finally meet you virtually.
I know, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Boomy, my mum, isn't she? She's got a bit of a boom on.
Have I got a boom on? I'm probably shouting because I'm excited.
All right, Louise.
Shout away, I say.
Tom, can you tell Mum about what you've had to do tomorrow because of your excitement?
Yes, well, I booked a day off work for tomorrow so that I didn't have the Sunday night blues for this event.
Well, that's lovely. Well, good idea. I wish I can't.
And
Great idea.
Hi to hello to Louise. Pleased to see you. I don't know, Mum, you might be able to see the comment.
I haven't got my glasses on.
Okay. All right, ignore the comments.
I don't think I can see them.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to put my spectacles on because then I'll fit in properly.
She's going to throw herself out. Oh, look at us.
And then I'm going to peer at the screen.
People saying they want Oscar to take on the rooks.
Have I vanished?
No, you're still here.
Oh, no, it's all right. I clicked on something else.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you focused on this. It's lovely to have you, Louise.
I was just trying to see if I could read the comments. You asked me to. I can't. So.
No, people just saying lovely things, basically. But we were just wrapping up with Bellman and Black, sort of, which you didn't read because you didn't properly join in.
I joined in quite well.
Well, we'll find out shortly, won't we? We will see how well Louise has done. But the one thing that, just quickly for anybody who doesn't want the ending spoiled, Mum, do you want the ending spoiled, or are you going to not read it?
If I do read it, it won't be for a while, and I'll probably have forgotten by then. So,
but we've given that warning. But the ending left me with a WTF feeling because so basically the story is that Bellman meets this man called Black at the cemetery where all of his family have been killed by a pandemic. Funny, a little bit too close on the nose. Apart from one daughter who's left, and so a bargain is made, and from then the book shifts, and Black sort of just keeps. He was appearing at all funerals all the way through, and then at the end he appears. Bellman dies, and one of them turns into a rook, and that's it.
Oh, okay. What's wrong with rooks?
Oh, well, the book starts with Bellman as a young boy killing a rook with a catapult.
Oh, okay.
And the rooks.
That's quite an interesting arc, though.
Well, literally, it's a catapult arc. I see what you've done there, Louise. Oh, she didn't use it. She's added more to it than I did. Anyway, so yes. Well, people are enjoying the banter between mother and son.
Oh dear. We're very toned down, I think.
But it was very, very, very. I enjoyed it. Like, I think it's a definite 3.5 out of 5 for me. Has anyone in the comments got any questions apart from people saying fire Louise for not reading Bellman and Black? Alas, you can't fire your mother.
Well, the thing is, I wasn't invited until after you'd decided, and I simply didn't have time to get hold of a copy.
Tom, did you hear the shade there?
No, I didn't. I didn't hear it.
There was a little bit of
sorry.
shade from Louise. A little bit of shade from Louise.
A little bit of shade.
Yeah, she didn't read it because she was invited late.
Oh.
Well, I think we're gonna decide on the winter dates, the spring dates soon. Anyway, so what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, Tom, take over briefly.
Do what? Sorry.
You take over briefly.
I'll take over briefly. Let's have a look at some of the questions. So someone's saying, what's your favourite Simon, what is your favourite non-fiction book or books of January 2021 so far?
Oh.
Is that something you wish to divulge?
I've only read two. One was Deborah Levy's Things I Don't Want to Know, which is the first of her trilogy of memoirs. That was amazing. Then I read I've read three actually. Somebody to Love by Alexandra Hemingsley, who is a friend of mine, about her difficulties having children, and then after having her first child, her husband announcing that they were transitioning. And that's a phenomenal book. And what's the other one that I've read? Name drop. Alan Carr recommended I read The Haunting of Alma Fielding, and it was really, really good. But I listened to David Morrissey reading it, and he's got such a sexy voice, I couldn't concentrate.
You said you'd read two. That's three.
No, I forgot about one. Well, people are asking what Louise is reading.
What I'm reading at the moment?
Yeah.
I'm reading a book called, well, you see, because I did try and choose something with a feather on it.
Oh, she paid attention. I like it.
Got a bird. There we go.
Okay.
It's a lovely cover. Can you see it? So it's called The Garden of Evening Mists by Tan Twang Eng. And I started it this morning and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's lovely. It's set in Malaysia, a country which I went to about 30 years ago, on a tea plantation. But it's about, so it started with a lawyer who's just retiring, and she's obviously interested in gardens, but she was also a Japanese prisoner of war. So I think it's going to be a good sort of historical, but with lots of garden descriptions in it. So yes, yeah, and there's art in it as well. Pardon?
You can barely get you out of your garden.
I'm not in that now.
When we visit for Summer Book Hibernation and move into the log cabin for a little bit, see, she's well up for it. We won't see her because she'll be too busy off doing pollinating something.
Someone saying, Enid is saying, says, oh, Louise, that is a wonderful read, and he lives here in Cape Town. You will love it.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's good.
And yeah. Julie Jones said that she loved that book. People are saying what a beautiful cover. So, yeah, no, people are saying that it's a great book. I think it was up for the Booker.
I think it was, yes, it was. It was shortlisted. I think a couple of years ago, maybe.
It's interesting that one, considered on the phone the other day, Bob was saying, right, I need to start thinking what might be on the women's prize long list and get reading ahead.
I know this is my last indulgence before I do that, I think.
So what other books did you read over book hibernation?
Well, Simon, I'm glad you asked me that question. I read.
Bless Tom, he's got like 39 years worth of banter to try and get in between.
Sorry, Tom.
It's all right.
we're a very noisy family. I can't get. Can you see that? It's called Shantaram. It's a semi-cheat because I had started it, but it is ice blue.
Yes.
So I thought it fit. And have you read it, Tom?
No, I haven't, but it's again a gorgeous cover.
It has.
Huge.
It is huge. It's about 900 pages, but I absolutely loved it. It's extraordinary. I've never read anything like it before. It's set mostly in Mumbai, but it does have a brief sort of dalliance in Afghanistan. And I love travel, so I'm really enjoying, I feel like I've been to Mumbai. I feel like I know it intimately after reading the book. But it's the chap who wrote it, Gregory David Roberts. It's sort of, as I was reading it, I was feeling it was probably loosely autobiographical. But he actually, the book starts with this bloke on a plane, and he is flying into Mumbai, and he's clearly an escaped robber of some sort. He's broken out of prison, and he's robbed a bank, and several banks, and so he's on the run. He's wanted by Interpol and what have you, and he sort of blends in with this group of New Zealanders and gets himself into Mumbai, and then just has the most amazing experiences. And you're reading it and you're thinking, this could never have happened. It can't be real. But so it's really about the Mumbai mafia, which he gets involved in. But in actual fact, a lot of it did happen. He was a bank robber, and he was known as the gentleman robber because he was so polite when he robbed banks. And he did, and he was wanted by Interpol, and he did. So I think there's a lot of truth in the novel. And I absolutely loved it, completely got lost in it, which is what you need right now. There's a lot of fight scenes, which got a bit much. But no, it's really gritty and clever. Quite a lot of sort of philosophy, but not in a heavy way. So that was the first one.
Can I ask you a question, HRH, with regards to that? I'm going to now get all of your other children calling you HRH as well. That's the next one. Mum's got a bit upset because I call her Louise so much just because I'm checking in on her, that her other children have also started doing it. But when you're reading a book that long,
there's
not part of you that thinks, oh, how many books I could fit in instead of this one?
No.
Oh.
I was thinking about this actually. But Tom, you will get this because you're such a big fan of big Victorian. I mean, you love Dickens, don't you?
Yeah.
And it is like you've almost suspended your own life for a while. You sort of you get even more absorbed in that world, I think.
Definitely. I think with something like, especially if it's told over quite a long period of time, so something like David Copperfield, I just absolutely adored because it was, it starts at his birth, finishes when he's a grown man. Thought that was wonderful. Yeah. But also something like The Eighth Life, which spanned a whole century, was just absolutely unbelievably good. And you kind of saw this whole century pass by through the eyes of one family, and it was just absolutely brilliant. So yeah. I like a big book, but I do have to be in the mood for a big book, and I can't do two big books next to each other.
No, I get that completely. I can't. Yeah.
Just sat it.
What do you think, Simon?
I like a big book when I'm in the right mood.
Yeah.
I'll be in the right mood. Because I think what you said is 100% true. Like with a big book, if you're enjoying it, you don't want that world to end. So the longer it goes on, the more you're enveloped in it. But I think I just think as well, it's like anything. I think short, big, whatever. If you're not enjoying it, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you love it, you're just going to carry on loving it, if you know what I mean.
But I'd have ditched it if I didn't enjoy it.
Yes.
I've got really good at that now. I don't.
We've both got a surname that we live up to on occasion.
It took years for me to do it, though.
Well, the reason I don't do it is because of Bong, Mum's dad, and my granddad, Uncle Bongi. And when he was, we knew that he was ill. Well, we knew that he was terminally ill, didn't we? And one of the conversations that I had with him was like, did he have any regrets? And he said the only thing he regretted was finishing bad books.
Mm.
Yeah. He wasn't a massive reader, though.
You are?
He wasn't a massive reader, was he?
Doesn't matter. Still, it was a good thing to keep him on board. Like I was thinking, if you
yeah, I agree.
If not reading a lot. You know what I mean? It's that thing. Sorry, goodbye, Simplify Life. It was lovely to have you here. Sorry, I'm just checking in on the comments as well. People are asking, Tom, have you seen the new David Copperfield?
Yeah, we were. Was I talking to you about this the other day?
On the Instas.
On the old Instas. Yeah, I love it. I love the David Copperfield with Dev Patel. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Mum
agrees. She's now gone into mime.
Oh no, because I was allowing Tom time to speak.
Saying,
I didn't want to interrupt.
A lot of people saying they love a long novel to lose themselves in. What else are people saying? The older I get, the less large books appeal to me, or it might just be the pandemic.
Oh,
that's quite interesting.
Yeah. I think it can be. It's I don't know. I would like to, because The Eighth Life is a book that I've been meaning to read since you loved it as much as you did. I don't know if you've seen that one, Mum. It's like really big, chunky. But I read the first part, the first chapter or whatever, and the writing was stunning. Because I was reading for the cost, I just couldn't read multiple books. So
what's that? The Eighth Life?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to read a lot. I would like to read some bigger books. There's one called Plain Bad Heroines that's coming out in February, which is about a book that can murder you if you read it. And that's like 900 pages long, but I think that could be quite good fun. So yeah. But yeah, I don't like it when I feel like the book has been overly long for the sake of it.
Yeah, and I think that's where The Eighth Life is. Sorry, just to constantly talk about The Eighth Life, but I think that's where it's quite good, because it kind of needs to be, because it's an exploration of everything that happened in Europe in that century. It needs to be that long, otherwise it would do a massive disservice to all of the.
Which century is it, Tom?
The 20th century.
Right.
So it's Georgia, isn't it? It's set in Georgia.
Yeah, set in Georgia. So it looks at all of everything that was going on in Russia. It spends time in early 20th century Georgia, and then it comes to London in the 1960s, and it's really, really, really good.
It's sold as being a story about a family who run a chocolate dynasty, where the chocolate is addictive but has a bittersweet aftertaste, which is sort of reflective of their lives. But you said you think that's a bit of a.
Well, I think I don't know if that's a bit of a marketing thing, to be honest, because that is what it's about. It plays such a small part in the book. Like, there's so much more to the book than that. And it really, I mean, you don't even need that. You don't even need the hot chocolate in the novel. It's just there's so much more to it than that. So I wonder if that was maybe a marketing thing.
Has it made you want to go to Georgia?
Sorry?
Has it made you want to go to Georgia?
Yeah, it's made me want to go everywhere in the book.
That's what happens to me when I read. I want to go to India. Well, I think I often read about India because it's somewhere I really want to go. I've not been.
You were supposed to go, weren't you, last year?
Yeah. It's on hold.
Mum was going to go to India for the summer. None of us were invited. Mum, what other books did you pick up during book club? Moving swiftly.
I did read this as well.
I'm a bit nervous about how you feel about this one.
Why?
I'm just worried that you won't like it, and I love Tiara Jones.
I loved it. Yeah, I really loved it. I found it extremely readable. She's just so clever. I think she's really clever, because on the surface of it, it's very simple. That was my alliterative one, by the way.
Yeah, 2 S's. You get double points for that.
Sibilance, indeed. No, I think it's. I just love the idea of that. I'd never thought before enough about how it would feel to. I mean, this is pertinent to you, I suppose, and our family.
You're about to announce I have another father.
No.
Somebody, not another father. Are you about to announce that there's some bigamy in my family, because that is what the book is about?
No, but I think my mum. I think your gran always was convinced that Grandad had another wife in France.
Who thought that?
My mum.
Really?
Grandpa Hill, yeah. Well, it took him a long time to get back from the war.
Elsie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my great grandma. So that's so Doris is over there. Oh,
Yeah, sorry, your great grandma and grandfather. On your mum, on my mum's side.
You're my mum. Hello, this is getting confusing.
On my mum's side. Oh God, I'm confused. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it took him a long time to get home from the war.
Well, to be fair, from what little I know of Elsie, I'm not surprised.
No, quite. I mean, I don't think she's necessarily the sort of woman you would have been desperate to get home to.
No. And I'm sure
Simon.
I'm sure that
Awful.
Emily, or whatever she was called, was much more fun. Anyway, so the book's about bigamy, and basically the book's set up in two halves where you're with the daughter who knows about the other family, and then you switch to the daughter who doesn't know that her father has another wife and children.
I don't think it is about bigamy really at all. It's about the two sisters. It's about the concept of a father having two children and the two children growing up in different places. One knows about the other, but the other one doesn't. And it's just absolutely fascinating. It's a real kind of, you know, when you feel like you literally have been a fly on the wall and you've been watching these people, that it's that sort of novel. And what always impresses me is when, because you do get two voices. So you've got the two sisters, they each narrate, but they have genuinely very different voices. You can really tell, you know, the whole sort of character. And I always think that is so difficult to do well. And I think she does.
Without spoilers, I think she very cleverly makes you think different things about each of the sisters when she flips it. But it's done in a really deft way. It's not done in a really heavy-handed way. But
I also think she does that about the adults as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think you see them from all these different angles, and it's
Is it written in the first person with each sister's view?
Yes. Yeah.
So that must be really. It seems to me like a real skill to be able to come up with two very distinct voices in the same novel written in the first person.
Yeah, and keep it fresh as well.
Mm.
You know, to actually keep that narrative going. And as I said, she just makes it look really easy. I really recommend it. I think it's delightful.
And we loved American Marriage, didn't we? Which, funnily enough, I am listening to on audio.
Okay.
I can't speak about yet, but that switches between the married couples narrative, so you see the relationship from both of their sides. And I just think she does that so brilliantly, and she throws you straight into characters instantly and you submerge. Brilliant like that. I've just been laughing because I've seen a comment from Little Miss Vic H1 saying, "Love watching Tom smiling serenely through all the bigamy talk."
Oh dear.
So
someone said, "I love a good family secret." We found out quite a few recently. We can't just leave it at that.
Yeah, tell us.
Reveal all.
So is that your trio of books for Book Hibernation? Oh, here we go. She's gone the extra mile.
If I'm going to do something, I'll do it properly. Right. So
way more.
I also
hibernation.
Like the idea of the poetry, the winter poetry. So I don't know have you read this, Simon? I don't know whether you have, but it's by Kieran Milman Hargreave.
Oh, yeah.
It's called The Last March. And I think she's probably better known now as a novelist, but I think originally she wrote a lot of poetry. She must have written this when she was 21. I mean, it's gobsmacking. But it's
her 10th book. Like, she's a powerhouse.
I know, she does it.
I know, she's a powerhouse.
Yeah, she is. But this is absolutely. I mean, I'd read it before. I reread it this time, and it's about the Scott expedition to the Antarctic, the last March. So that's the connection with winter and snow and what have you. But it's she sort of recreates the experience. So she stops off at different points, and there'll be a poem about a particular place on the route, or there'll be thoughts from the perspective of one of the explorers, or it'll be a description of. And one of the things that I really, really like is that she reinstates the idea that it was a race to the pole. She reclaims the idea that it wasn't that at all. It was much more important that it was a scientific expedition. So the whole idea of taking photographs and samples and observing, and you know, she sort of reinstates that in this poetry collection. I think it's fabulous, and most of the poems are quite brief as well. Whoop. And somehow that gives the impression that you're just getting these glimpses, these snapshots inside and outside people's heads. It's great. It's lovely. I really recommend it.
I had no idea that Karen Millward Hargreave wrote poetry before she did novels.
There you are. There's a few. I'm sure I've got another one. I can't remember what it's called now.
But I think her novels, The Mercies, which is her latest, her first adult novel actually, or novel for adults, sorry, is based on a true incident that happened in the 1600s on an island called Varja, where all the men were out whaling and the boat sank. So it was a whole island just left with women, and they, you know, to do all the jobs. And this is back when women had women's roles and men had men's jobs. And they start to try and create a society, and then people come from the outside and declare they're all witches. And it's based on true witch trials, some of the worst in the world. And honestly, it's so clever because even though you know the ending from the beginning, because it's based on facts, you still read it as if it could change. I don't know how she does it. It's really clever. Really, really clever.
Her writing is I mean, you can see that she's a poet, really, because her writing is absolutely beautiful without, again, being gloopy, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's lovely texture to it.
That's how I felt about On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. You can tell that they're a poet. Reading that book, you can tell because of the gorgeousness of the writing.
Yeah, I haven't got around to that one yet. I've got it on the shelf somewhere, but I haven't read it yet. So.
I've realised recently I love poets' novels because I read Here is the Beehive by Sarah Crossan last year, which is told in verse. And that's all about a woman who's having an affair with a man who dies, but because he was a secret, nobody knows she's going through grief. And it's so beautifully written and quite shocking to read. And then I've just recently read Selena Godden's Mrs. Death, which is about death being an older working class black woman who is bored of being deaf, is just knackered, and wants to tell her stories before she tries to end herself. But there's something about how they use language, I think, in a different way. I don't know. I've just realised recently I really, really enjoy it.
Don't you think that an awful lot of writers are writers? They're not necessarily, they might happen to write novels, but they might happen to write lots of other things as well. I mean, look at people like Atwood. She's a poet too. She writes short stories. I think that writers dabble in all sorts of things.
Yeah, I think there's an author called Laura Dockrill who's a kind of children's author, and then she went into sort of YA. And then she wrote a non-fiction book about her own experiences with the birth of her child. And now she's writing that as a screenplay. So, yeah, I think, people like Laura Dockrill can span any kind of thing.
I think it's becoming more common. And actually, it was even in Bellman and Black, there was lyrics in Bellman and Black and poetry. Right. And also, the Costa winner this year, Monique Brophy, The Mermaid of Black Conch has the mermaid's voice is all poetry and the rest is not, and that's how you differentiate between the speaking. So yeah, I very much recommend that book. So I want to check and see, first of all, Tom, if you've got any questions you'd like to ask HRH now that you've got the opportunity. And this mum.
Who is it? It looks like Hercules to me, but I need a closer look.
I bought it and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it does. It looks like Hercules, but
it says on the
I'm not
front,
sure who.
I think it says. I mean, my interpretation of the Greek alphabet might be a bit wrong, but Narakani or something.
Oh, I don't know. Ah, well, that would be Heracles.
Oh, okay.
It's probably Herak. Yeah, L-E.
Yes.
Heracles. Because that looks like a lion at the bottom. Is there a lion?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the body? What's the body that he's contorting?
It's like I think it's like a man, but I don't know, like a young man, or I don't know.
Yeah, you see, that's what's puzzling me.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure, because it's got a lion at his feet, I'm pretty sure it'd be Hercules.
There you go.
You name that classical person in. Doot, 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 doot. He's a legend. This could become a whole new thing on Instagram.
Just I've been for years and I've never known what it is. So
yeah. Tell you what, take a photograph of what it actually says and send it to me.
I will do.
Yeah.
There we go. They're sliding into each other's DM. I won't see either of them ever again, and then suddenly on Instagram they'll be having a lovely time on the hills of Shropshire. Anyway,
it could happen.
People are very much enjoying Mum popping on her glasses to get a closer look at you.
Oh, sorry, I've forgotten I was. Yeah.
I think it's more they were laughing at what you were peering at, possibly.
How rude.
So, by the looks of it, you needed a microscope. So also people are saying, is this the Antiques Roadshow as it's Sunday night?
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
Very antique.
Okay. She got right in there. But yeah, so Tom, any other things you'd like to ask now that you've got HRH in the room? I talk to you all the time. In fact, hilariously now, when we phone each other, I'll say, oh, Mum did it. Yeah, I know, I've seen it on Instagram.
I think what I would like to ask is, out of all of the books you read for Winter Book Hibernation or Book Hibernation Winter Edition, which one would you recommend the most to everybody?
I think it would be Silver Sparrow, because I think that's the one that would appeal to a wider readership.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shantaram is probably, I mean, it's a bestseller, so, you know, it's clearly lots and lots of people love it, but you have got to commit, you know, it's one of those novels where you have to commit some time to it. And I think also, you know, it's one of those books that I might have read 2 years ago and just not got into. You've got to be in the right frame of mind. I think I needed to go to another place. I needed to be in another country for a while, and that's why it worked for me. So yeah, Silver Sparrow, I would say.
It does sound really good, and there's loads of love in the comments for Shantaram. People really.
Oh,
really
that's good. That's good. I didn't realise he'd written a sequel as well.
Would you read that?
Well, that's the interesting thing, because I don't at the moment. I certainly wouldn't. I've had enough for now. You know, when I got to the end, I just thought, yeah, okay, I've had that adventure. Yeah. So I don't know whether I would or not. I think probably at some point curiosity will get the better of me, and I will, but not for a while.
If anybody's got any questions, by the way, because we'll be live for about another 12 minutes, then please let us know. That's gone it always goes very quickly. We're always like, oh, do we need that amount of time? But yes, we do. And one thing I will say is we are looking at when we're going to do March book hibernation. And as Mum's dropped such a huge hint, we'll try and get her involved beforehand at the time, apparently. We might do it around someone's birthday.
Whose would that be?
I don't know. I don't know.
Tom, when's your birthday?
My birthday's in December.
Oh, is it? Oh gosh, that's a wait then.
We'll do the next winter one around your birthday, Tom.
Okay. That's
the deal. Fair enough. And hang on, when does autumn start? When does winter start?
Well, in my mind,
December.
Winter starts December. Yeah, December, January, February. But
so autumn, we could do around someone else's birthday. Early November. Galore. People are just generally saying at the moment that we're cheering their Sunday evenings up, which is really, really lovely.
Oh, that's so nice.
Also, I'm thrilled that Mum knows how to do this, because just to drop a slight clanger, we're hoping at the beginning of April to be doing this. Sadly, not with Tom, but we'll probably do one with Tom before then, but with Maggie O'Farrell. So that's going to be quite exciting.
I'm very excited at that thought.
Although you're still not the dates, Louise. So you just keep Maggie hanging on.
Any of those dates will do, Simon.
Look what's happened. I've got her on the internet a few times, and now look at her. I think Maggie can wait. So yes, doing something with Maggie, and that may become a feature on the channel. Is me and Mum grilling people.
Is that to talk about Hamnet specifically, or just to have a lovely...
Well, both. It'll be both. We did a live with Caris Davies, who we both really, really love. But I like Instagram lives, but I prefer them when they're sort of friendly, chatty than author chats. I think this, for some reason, is nicer because more people can join in. You don't have to be logged into YouTube to be able to have it. Anyway, let's move on from the technical side. That's boring. What are we all planning on reading next?
Well, I am planning on trying to finish The Other Bennet Sister. I mean, it's huge.
Oh.
But
is it good?
It is really good. It's really, really, really good. And so I don't know why it's taken me so long to get through it. But I think it's massive text as well, which is absolutely brilliant. But yeah, it's really, really good. I read Charlotte by Helen Moffat, which is a retelling of one of the other characters from Pride and Prejudice. And really enjoyed that. And this is just as good. So yeah, really enjoying that. But I think after that, I'm going to go to A Promised Land by Barack Obama.
Now, Tim is reading that at the moment.
That's my stepdad, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. My husband, and he's absolutely loving it. I mean, he reads a lot, so, but he is devouring it.
Yeah. It's so. I just think it will be so fascinating. But it's quite a big book, isn't it? It's about 700.
Yeah, yeah. It's a tome.
A tome, yes.
Yeah. It's the sort of book that you kind of, if you read it in bed and you nod off, it claps you on the nose.
It's a really good audio book. I bet you it's a really, really good audio book.
Yeah.
I listened to Becoming. I didn't read it. I listened to it, the Michelle Obama one. Have you read that one?
I listened to it.
I haven't, but I've been told it's amazing.
It was amazing. I really, really, I've got so much respect for them as a family and as individuals. They do seem to be the real deal.
I quite want to read Kamala Harris's memoir.
Oh, right.
I think that's what you can get that on audio. So, Mum, what are you planning on reading?
Well, I'm going to read Love After Love because you've been raving about it for a long, long time, and it's been sat there looking at me, and I think that's what I'm going to read next. That
book has got a very special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Every time I think about it, I just start smiling, even though, be warned, it's really traumatic.
Okay, great.
Who's it by? Love After Love. I don't
Ingrid Persaud. Is that how I pronounce her name?
I think so. Yeah. And it's I want to read. I think there's going to be my guess this year is there's going to be, because of that doing so well as a debut, because of Monique Roffey winning the Costa. I think there's going to be a real wave of Caribbean literature coming over this year, or voices that have come over already telling their stories. I think there's going to be a lot more of that this year, which I think is really, really exciting. I'm going to be reading, because I'm not sure I'm mentally ready for it. I don't know if either of you two have watched It's a Sin yet.
Yes.
I haven't.
Seen a couple of episodes.
Oh, I've just cried the whole way through it.
You said you weren't going to watch it, I thought.
No, but then because of who I'm doing a gig for Waterstones
right.
with a woman called Ruth Coker Burns, who was one of the nurses. Well, no, she wasn't. Sorry, she was visiting a friend, and she saw these doors in the hospitals in New York where they painted them with red. And she's like, "Why have they done that?" And it was because it was for people now with AIDS, and she watched people picking straws to see which one had to go and nurse that person.
Yeah.
And she just walked in and started nursing him. And eventually she became she would literally invite them all to her house, cook for them all. She would steal food that had gone off from behind supermarkets so that she could feed more. And she ended up actually being the advisor for Bill Clinton on the
Oh, right.
So, but because it's her memoir, and because It's a Sin is effectively so way much more than I thought it would. Not because I think the age crisis, I don't feel like, as part of LGBTQI heritage and history, I don't feel I know anything about it actually. And sometimes I remember the advert on the telly.
Yeah.
Terrified about that.
We've watched, I think, the first 3 episodes, and I found I couldn't watch more than one in one go. I think it's absolutely amazing. I think it exposes so well the cruelty and the prejudice, which, you know, I was fully aware of, having lived through that era. But it's just absolutely shocking, and there's so much joy in that community and so much love, and you know, the way that everybody's looking out for each other, and I think what makes it bearable to watch is the fact that some of the characters are so warm and so wise, and the soundtrack's fantastic.
Well,
I just think it's, yeah. Have you seen it, Tom? Did you say, or not?
I haven't. No, I've heard really, really, really good things about it. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna head to it. But it's got the is his name Ollie from Years and Years?
Yeah.
Does he cover the music? I wonder for it. I don't know.
He's covered
I don't know.
Pet Shop Boys single. It's the thing they've just released it as a new version.
Oh, okay.
But no, and what I think is so powerful about it is that it does look at, as Mum was saying, terror, but also the absolute joy, and how they both into it. Yeah, it's just phenomenal. So that's what I'm going to read next, because I think it's going to be amazing. So quickly before we depart, also we should note that me and Mum, hopefully, fingers crossed, speaking of 80s music, we're going to go and see Erasure this autumn, and we're going to go absolutely wild, unintended, because I think one of their albums is called that. Lots of people are looking forward to watching It's a Sin, and somebody just said, my husband walked in on me after I finished It's a Sin and thought someone had literally died.
Oh God.
I can believe that.
Yeah, I ugly cried for about an hour last night when I finished it. No spoilers. So I would love to know any final questions. I'm aware Tom's got dinner at 6, so we've got about 3 minutes.
People are saying Lauren Jen saying I had a lump in my throat the whole time reading Biden's book. I didn't realise Biden had done a book.
Ah, no, I didn't.
I didn't either. So that's something to look out for. Apparently there's more than one Joe Biden book.
Oh.
So yeah.
Well, he's had a very interesting life, hasn't he? You know, he's had a lot of sort of personal tragedy and things.
Yeah.
So they don't half focus on that sometimes. They either use the sentence Joe Biden and all of his awful tragedy, or they use eldest president ever, Joe Biden. I'm like, yeah, but what about just saying Joe Biden for a bit?
Fair enough.
About his son passing away, and then someone else is saying, Amanda's saying that Dr. Jill Biden, his wife, wrote a picture book about Joe's childhood. That sounds quite interesting.
Wow. I don't think I like a political memoir that much, but I do feel like I should be more informed sometimes, to be frank.
I think it's interesting, isn't it, with a political memoir, because it's always through, if it's written by like, for example, Obama or whoever was in power at that time, it's written through their eyes. So you, as much as they probably try and be very honest, it's definitely written through their eyes.
Because I think it's that legal thing, because I know that Curtis Sittenfeld, her latest book, Rodden, where she reimagines Hillary Clinton's life, she used all of their names. But interestingly, she didn't when she wrote The American Wife. And I think it's due to legality, which I think is quite interesting. So I wonder if Hillary Clinton is aware of Rodden, which I think will probably be
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read that and I'm saying nothing about it. So yeah. Any other questions or anything before we depart? Also, Tom and Mum, when we end, don't end it. We can do a debrief.
Oh gosh, is he going to tell me off? What have I done wrong now?
Listen, nothing wrong at all.
I think it's last time I thought we were ending it, and I just went bye. And just...
just hung up on me. People are asking if I think The Prophets is any good because I've barely mentioned it this year. Yes, I do think that The Prophets, Robert James Jr., is a very good book. I have talked about it a lot. It basically had the same emotional effect on me as Hamlet.
Oh, okay.
And it's grief and love in very different ways, but just have that real yeah. So anyway,
Amanda's saying, is the debrief a Patreon reward?
No. It's not. Although I've just realised I'm meant to be doing a vlog this week, so before we're allowed to let anyone go, I've just got to vlog what I'm actually. Oh, no, I'm just trying to vlog my own face. Look at me vlogging live. Isn't that exciting? Behind the curtain. Ooh.
Ooh.
So there we go. Everybody enjoy that. You'll all be part of my vlog. But thank you so much, Mum. Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you, everyone, for your lovely comments. Hopefully, you will join in with Spring Book HiBearnation. I still can't say it, and I invented it. Which we'll hopefully do. I think spring starts on the 21st of March, so it might be quite nice to do it the week after that, especially.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a chat about possible prompts for that or something else. But until then, Mum and Tom, stay where you are. We'll see you all soon. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much.